So let's talk pitching real quick. You were a pitcher, and obviously you teach pitching now. So there's a lot of variables that go into it, and a lot of it has to do with context. So what are some of your personal keys to pitching, and some that you would give out to maybe a younger pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, starting with the younger pitcher, the reason that I got cut, well, I put air quotes, was because I didn't throw enough strikes. When I got cut, I walked like three guys. I don't know. That's the reason why. So I always focused on throwing as many strikes as I could, even if I had to take a little bit off of it to throw strikes. So when I got into college, even my last couple of years, I wasn't throwing hard, maybe 80 to 83, maybe at most. And that's when I started switching up my arm angles. But I threw that hard mainly because I wanted to find my spots. And if I could throw strikes and get guys out with less pitches and be more economical, that was going to be the key to my success. And I knew that right away. So the more strikes that I could throw with, any of my pitches, the better I could get. Even if, like I said, even if my pitches kind of flattened out a little bit, I knew that I could throw strikes with all four of my pitches. And that was a huge, huge key to going all the way to when I stopped playing last year. And that's what my coach kind of, even in college, prided me on, was like, you throw a lot of strikes. But that also comes, as a negative too. You need to be able to learn how to control the outside, of the zones as well. You got to learn how to throw your slider away, or throw your fastball in, or throw your fastball away. So it's throwing a lot of strikes is good, but don't throw too many strikes. That was the key to my success. And then another thing that I learned that I love to do, and I wish I would have learned a lot sooner in my career, because I think it would have helped me out, was being like Marcus Stroman, changing up the looks. I would kind of in my set with nobody on, come set and hold for as long as I could, or come up, hold with my foot, up in the air, maybe dangle a little bit and then drop down sidearm. I wish I would have learned that so much earlier in my career, because my last year I learned it, and it was a lot of fun. Like, I love messing with hitters. Like, just, they would step out and be like, "What are you doing?" It's like, well, oh well, that was a strike. You should have hung in there. And I hope a lot more major leaguers do that, because I love watching that. I love seeing the timing get messed up. It's a lot of fun. So
Yeah, and that it's kind of talking my language, because when you said um, not too many strikes, because obviously my senior year just got canceled due to the pandemic, but that was kind of like me. I came up and I was throwing a lot of strikes, but when I got to the varsity level, it there's bigger and better hitters, and I was leaving the ball up in the strike zone, and it was not turning out well for me. Then I switched my arm angle. I dropped down a little bit. I would switch off. I would quick pitch from time to time. And still to this day, when we practice it in the bullpen, I have such a hard time with the extended fastball, because like you're just so used to aiming, throwing strikes. And I think one thing that me personally, I would tell young pitchers is that um, don't leave the ball up, because that's one of the big ones for me. And I know there's some guys that are low ball hitters, and you cross that bridge when you get there. But I don't throw hard at all. And when I mean don't throw hard, I mean like high 60s. So it's nothing. But I still figure out ways to get outs, because, um, like you said, walking too many people. I think people just um, try to do too much, and that's when you're going to start seeing more of the walks, and it's just exhausting.
yeah,
So,
I'll say this too.
mhm,
I would rather give up a solo home run, than walk somebody. 100%.
exactly,
I would
100%.
totally, like, a home run gets everybody kind of, it is what it is. He runs around the bases. But if I walk somebody, then I got to work out of the stretch, and then I have to hold it. And my whole rhythm is now out of sync. And I got to worry about him stealing, and, how quickly do I got to get to home plate? Is my catcher going to be able to throw him out? Everything starts going through my mind, and I hated that. Once he
Mhm.
got to second, I was kind of, in a sense, okay with that, because then I was able to look him back and all that fun stuff. But I would totally rather give up a solo home run than give up a walk any day of the week.
Mhm. And I also think that a one pitch flyout is way better than a six pitch strikeout, just because, it adds up to maybe an extra inning further down the game, further into the game. So confidence is also an important key. Um, on the mound, and I know you again you work with young pitchers. So is that something you preach to them, is confidence and mentality stuff?
Yes, you need to keep your composure. I'm a composure guy. If I see a guy really getting upset on the mound, I'll, take some time, go out there and talk to him. I hate that. That's my thing. Or, if it's, so at the college level, I coach two different. We have a younger team that's kind of our, feeder team, building up guys in a sense. And we have our older guys. The younger guys I have full control over, just because our head coach, he's the pitching guru. I take from him, I learn from him still. I'm able to work with those guys, but he is the final decision maker. He's the manager, he's the guy. Down with the JV guys, I can go out there and talk to him whenever I want. But a lot of times on that varsity level, on the big level, of our team, I'll, kind of sit back, and if I see something, I'll kind of go over there and be like, hey, you know, maybe let's keep the composure a little bit better, and then let's calm guys down. And that's kind of my goal on the higher level team, is to, hey, let's keep the composure here. Let's make sure we have a high level of excitement and everything like that, because that's huge. And a lot of guys feed off that. A lot of guys are very emotional on the mound, and that's something you can't take away. And I guess in a sense it varies for everybody, and that's the answer. Not a very good answer that it varies for everybody, but that's kind of what you have to learn as a coach, is that not one thing is going to work for your whole team. And that's something you got to that was a huge thing that I learned this year. Is I thought that we were going to go in and everybody, we're all going to make these cookie cutter pitchers that are all the same, and that's going to work perfectly. And that doesn't work. Everybody works at a different level. Everybody works at a different pace. Everybody works different pitching. So yes, going back to your thing, confidence and everything is huge, and keeping your emotion and keeping everything cool is huge, but it works differently for everybody. Some guys aren't confident guys, and they need it, and some guys are overly confident, and you have to push them down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, so pretty much, I see what you're saying. Like some guys need a pat on the back, and other guys need a kick in the back. So it just kind of depends on the individual.